Hi and welcome to another story, and today we have part 6 of the 39 Storey Treehouse by Andy Griffiths and Terry Denton, continuing from chapter 12, The Amazing Spoonsill. But you can't redraw a whole universe, I say. I mean, I know you're a good drawer, and I admit you're much better than me, but a whole universe, really? Sure, says Terry. Universes aren't quite as complicated as you might think. You just start with a big bang, a bit of space, a few trillion suns, a couple of billion planets, a bunch of moons, a black hole or two, and take it from there. But what about your sore hand, I say? It's not sore anymore, says Terry. When Professor Stupido uninvented bites and bruises, it got better instantly. Well, that's great, I say, but he also uninvented pens and pencils. That doesn't matter, says Terry. I've got a spoonsill. What's a spoonsill? It's half spoon and half pencil, says Terry. I made it myself. Check out the ad. New spoonsill. Unbelievable. It's a spoon and a pencil at the same time. Food, spoonsill, drawing, chomp chomp, child drawing. You can draw and eat at the same time with a spoonsill. It really works. Wow, that's brilliant, I say, but how come you've still got it? Didn't Professor Stupido uninvent spoonsills as well? It's the only one of its kind, says Terry, which is maybe why he couldn't uninvent it. He didn't know it existed. Well, that and the fact that I keep it hidden up my nose. You keep it hidden up your nose, I say. Why? For emergencies, of course, says Terry, just like this one. The only problem is that it's quite far up. Can you help me get it out? No way, I say. I'm not putting my finger up your nose. But the fate of the whole entire universe depends on it. I don't care, I say. I'm still not putting my finger up your nose. Never mind, says Terry. I think I feel a sneeze coming on. Excellent. Terry tilts his head back. I cover my face. Terry's sneezes can be pretty messy. Nah, sorry, says Terry. False alarm. That's a pity, I say. No, wait, says Terry. Here it comes again. Thank goodness, I say. Nah, says Terry. Another false alarm. Oh, well, I say. I guess we're just going to have to float around in nothingness forever. Andy, says Terry. What, I say. Is your sneeze coming back? No, I just wanted to say that if I have to float around in nothingness for the rest of my life, there's no one I'd rather do it with than... Achoo! Achoo! No! Oh, gross, Terry, I say. You sneezed right in my face. That's the grossest thing you've ever done. I don't think so, says Terry. I'd say it's more like the third grossest. I think for a moment. Yeah, I say, you're probably right. The top 5 grossest things Terry has ever done. 1, eaten a live slug. It was in the lettuce. 2, washed his underpants in the shark tank. 3, sneezed all over Andy's face. 4, kissed an ugly sea monster. 5, eaten chewing gum off the road. Sorry about that, Andy, says Terry, but at least I got my spoonsill out. Before you start redrawing the universe, I say, do you think you could possibly draw me a handkerchief? Sure, there you go, says Terry. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd better get started. As I watch, Terry draws stars, planets, and moons. UFOs, black holes, comets, meteorites, supernovas, red dwarfs, terrifying aliens, and hideous monsters that I thought only existed in science fiction comics. Yikes, I say. Calm down, Andy, says Terry. It's just a razor-toothed Venusian blood-sucking worm, man. I know, I say. But you really have to draw it? Yes, he says. I have to draw everything back exactly the way it was before. Terry draws the entire Milky Way galaxy, including the Sun and the Moon and all the planets, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and, the most important one of all, Earth. Yay, Earth, I say. Can we go there right now? Not so fast, Andy, says Terry. I have to draw all the stuff on it first. Well, hurry up, I say. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm really missing gravity. Plus, I also need to go to the bathroom. Terry draws everything on the Earth's surface, including the oceans, the mountains, the deserts, the forests, the savannas, and the swamps. He draws all the roads and buildings, including houses, hospitals, sporting stadiums, schools, shops, and roadside stalls. Hey, that's pretty good, I say. Can I do some? Thanks for the offer, Andy, says Terry, but it's probably better if you let me do it. In fact, promise me that you won't draw anything? Okay, I say. I promise. Terry starts drawing all the animals on Earth. Don't bother drawing all the rabbits, I say. 2 will be enough. Why, says Terry. Don't worry, I say. Just keep drawing. I'll tell you about the rabbits later. It doesn't take long before Terry has got everything almost back to normal, including the forest, our tree and our treehouse, all 39 levels. Chapter 13, the last chapter. Terry sighs. There, he says. That's it. I think you forgot something, I say. What? Jill, I say. Oops, says Terry. One Jill coming right up. How's that, says Terry. Too tall, I say. Terry draws her again. How about this, he says. Too short. What about this, says Terry. Just right, I say. Jill blushes. Terry giggles. I look round to see what's so funny. Terry has drawn love hearts just above my head. Terry, I say, cut it out. Sorry, Andy, says Terry, removing them with his laser eraser. How's that? Much better, I say. OK, says Terry. Well, if you two love birds will excuse me, I'd better go and finish colouring in all the fish in the sea. He runs off laughing. What's going on, says Jill. All my animals disappeared and then I disappeared. Yeah, sorry about that, I say. I'm afraid you and your animals got uninvented. Uninvented, says Jill. How? Professor Stupido, the famous uninventor, did it, I explain. We asked him to uninvent our once-upon-a-time machine, but he ended up uninventing the whole universe, including himself. Terry's only just finished drawing everything back again. What about Silky, says Jill. Is she all right? I look around, but I can't see her anywhere. I think Terry might have forgotten about Silky, I say. Jill's eyes fill with tears. Don't cry, I say quickly. I'll fix it. How, says Jill. I'll draw you a new Silky. I didn't think you could draw, she says. Not as well as Terry, no, but how hard could it be to draw a flying cat, I say. They're just a few circles, whiskers, wings and a tail. I try to draw Silky as best I can, but she doesn't come out quite right. In fact, she doesn't look like a flying cat at all, more like a mutant lion kind of thing. I'm trying to draw its ears on when it looks at me with its badly drawn eyes and starts growling. Andy, cries Jill, what have you drawn? To tell you the truth, I say, I'm not quite sure. Can you talk to it and try to calm it down? I can't talk to it, says Jill. It doesn't have any ears. We'd better call Terry then, I say. Help! We both yell. Terry, help! Come quickly! Terry comes running, his laser eraser in his hand. Stand back, he says, as he drops to one knee and takes aim. I hereby erase Andy's badly drawn cat. Take that, mutant lion thing, and that, and that, and that. When he's finished, he turns to me and says, You promised you wouldn't draw anything. How do you know I drew it, I say. Only you could draw something as badly as drawn as that, he says, shaking his head. Well, I wouldn't have had to draw anything if you'd remembered to draw Silky. I did draw Silky, he says, and all her friends. Look, here they are now. We look up, and the sky is filled with flying cats. While Jill hugs Silky and all her other flying cats, my jet chair appears, and I fly up into the treehouse. It's all just exactly as it was before. The tank full of man-eating sharks, the bowling alley, the opera house, and even the once-upon-a-time machine. Hang on, the once-upon-a-time machine? What's that doing here? Terry, I yell. Terry appears, closely followed by Jill. What's the matter, he says. That's what's the matter, I say, pointing at the machine. Why did you redraw the once-upon-a-time machine after we went to all that trouble to get rid of it? I didn't redraw it, he says. Then how come it's here, I say. Terry thinks for a moment. It must have redrawn itself, he says. Oh, great, I say. Then that means the last 142 pages have all been for nothing. Well, at least it's not switched on, says Jill. Otherwise it wouldn't have let us into the treehouse. You're right, says Terry. And look, there's a manuscript in the printout chute. It must have finished our book. Let me see, I say. Me too, says Jill. We read the book. Well, says Terry, what do you think? Action-packed, I say. It's got everything I asked for. The only thing missing is the explosion. I can't wait to read it to the animals, says Jill. They're going to love it, especially Chapter 7. It makes you wonder, though, I say. Did everything we've just been through really happen, or was it just a story made up by the machine? I sure felt real, says Terry, especially when Mr. Hee-Haw bit me on the hand. Well, whether it was real or just a story, says Jill, I expect you've both learned a very good lesson from all this. What? Says Terry. It's obvious, isn't it? Said Jill. Says Terry, Andy can't draw? You already knew that, says Jill. He can't count? Says Terry. Obviously not, says Jill, but that's not a moral. Look, before you leap, I say. Jill sighs. I think you'd both better read the book again, she says. So, we do. You know, says Terry when we're finished, it seems to me that I invented the writing and drawing machine to save us work, but it ended up causing us much more trouble and bother than it would have been just to write the book ourselves in the first place. Well done, Terry, says Jill. That's the moral right there. Oh, I say, that stupid machine put a moral in, and I hate stories with morals. Speaking of that stupid machine, says Terry, where is it? We all look around. It's gone, says Jill. Somebody must have stolen it while we were reading the book, says Terry. But who would do such a thing, says Jill. Them. That's who, I say, pointing to a group of fake postal workers making their way through the forest with our machine. Those postmen, says Jill. They're not postmen, I say. They're the birthday card bandits. Now they'll be able to write stories just like ours, but with morals. I thought you said you hated stories with morals, says Jill. Yes, I do, I say, but other people love that sort of stuff. Relax, Andy, says Terry. Remember the big toe recognition security feature. If anyone other than us tries to start the machine, it will self-destruct. We hear a loud explosion. Like that, says Jill. Exactly like that, says Terry. Looks like you got your explosion after all, Andy. Yeah, I say, and even better, we're free of the Once Upon a Time machine once and for all. It can't possibly redraw itself now. Well, I think this calls for a special celebration, says Terry. Great idea, I say. What should we start with? Marshmallows, lemonade, chocolate waterfall? None of them, says Terry. I've got something even better. Follow me. Jill and I follow Terry to the ice cream parlour. Hot ice creams, calls Edward Scooperhands excitedly. Get your hot ice creams. Hot ice cream, I say. But I thought Professor Stupido uninvented hot ice cream. He did, says Terry, but when I was redrawing the universe, I took the opportunity to redraw it, and a few of the other things he had uninvented as well. Jill chooses Raspberry Ripple, I choose Rocky Road, and Terry orders 3 triple scoops of chocolate, double chocolate, and triple chocolate. Wow, says Jill, hot ice cream is delicious. It's just like cold ice cream, only hot. Yeah, I say, and no brain freeze. Says Terry. Chocolatey. Professor Stupido was crazy to uninvent this stuff, says Jill. Yeah, says Terry. I'm starting to think that maybe he wasn't such a genius after all. Terry gasps. Oh no! Watch out for that frog-potamus, Andy, he yells. What frog-potamus, I say. I look up to see a 10-ton frog-potamus hurtling towards me, its mouth wide open. Everything goes dark, and slimy and smelly. This is even worse than being sneezed on by Terry. Be careful, Terry, don't hurt it, I hear Jill saying as Terry pulls the frog-potamus off me. What about me, I say. You'll be fine, Andy, says Jill, but frog-potamuses are delicate and easily frightened. Then why did it jump on my head, I say. Because it wanted some of your ice cream, says Jill. Frog-potamuses love hot ice cream. Everybody knows that. Well, I didn't, I say, wiping frog-potamus spit off my face with the handkerchief Terry drew me. And I don't like frog-potamuses. Don't be mean, says Jill. I think it's cute. You can have it if you want, says Terry. Really, says Jill. Yes, I say. From now on, the treehouse is a frog-potamus-free zone. Thanks, Andy and Terry, says Jill. See you both later. She climbs onto the frog-potamus's back and whispers into its ear. It jumps out of the tree and hops off into the forest. So that all worked out pretty well, says Terry. Not only did we get to taste hot ice cream, but Jill got a new pet frog-potamus, and we got our book. Yes, I say, except that it's almost 5 o'clock and there's no way we're going to be able to get it to Mr. Bignose on time. Yes, there is, says Terry. How? By flying beetroot, of course, says Terry. He whistles and 2 brand new, shiny flying beetroots whoosh up and hover in front of us. One for me and one for you, says Terry. Wow, I say. Thanks, Terry. But what about the vegetable vaporizer? When it vaporized them, beetroots are vegetables, you know. No problem, says Terry. When I redrew the vegetable vaporizer, I added a flying beetroot override switch. Brilliant, Terry, I say. Let's go. Up, up, and away. Will you tell me about the rabbits now, Andy, says Terry. Sure, I say. But first I want to talk about adding another 13 stories to the treehouse. You mean we're going to make a 52-story treehouse, says Terry. Yes, I say. If that's what 39 plus 13 is. That's exactly what it is, says Terry. And then you'll tell me about the rabbits. Of course, Terry, I say. I promise. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed the 39-story treehouse, guys. I'll be back soon with much more and lots of stories coming to my channel. If you'd like to subscribe or hit a like, that's always appreciated. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.